yeah.
Hello, everybody. First, an apology. We really thought we would be with you last Sunday.
Give it a second. Let everybody come.
Okay.
Let our
Come on
friends
in.
join us.
Come on in.
Let our friends join us.
Hello. Greetings. Willkommen.
Hello.
Bienvenue.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. Too much Sesame Street for me. Hi, every single body. Hello. Yeah. So what my dad was starting to say is we thought we would be with you last week. But that's because we didn't realize what the date was because I refused to believe that it is actually June. And it was one of the most important people in our lives' baby shower. And so we were at the baby shower. Well, I wasn't really at the baby. I was chasing my child around the baby shower for 3 hours. But in theory, I was there also. But mostly I was just chasing my child. Missed you at Monster Palooza. I know we didn't have a chance. You know, there's too many things. There's so much going on all the time. And I'm not good at this point at keeping up. My brain is too mushy. So I can't remember what's when. We got our schedule, though, for Comic-Con. So You're Wrong, Leonard Maltin will be Friday at 4:00, which I think is the exact same as it was last year, which is always a blast. And we very much look forward to Comic-Con in all of its chaos. We look forward to it. So that's exciting. And what else? And we're going to be at D23, still figuring out what exactly we're doing, but we will be going to D23.
That's in August.
Yes. And
in beautiful Anaheim, California.
In sunny Southern California. What will be interesting, of course, is because D23 is every other year. The last time that Daisy attended with us, she could not yet walk. And now she can very much walk and run, and it'll be interesting to try to keep her.
Her philosophy is, why walk
when you can run?
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see what that is like for us this year. I expect a lot of running again. That's mostly what I expect, is me chasing after my small menace of a child. Leonard, it was great to hear your voice in episode 1 of The Plot Thickens on Decoding John Ford. How did that come about?
Answer, I don't know. This is the first time learning it. I've spoken about John Ford on many occasions in different media. I don't know where they plucked the quotes from for that. That's the brand new podcast that TCM is doing and Ben Mankiewicz is hosting.
Yeah.
And I believe this weekend they debuted the brand new one on John Ford.
There you go. They debuted it and you're on it. And now you know that.
I actually did a commentary. This is possibly it. I did a commentary for John Ford's Columbia Pictures.
Maybe
for a home video release from Turner. I did The Whole Town's Talking.
Yeah.
And The Long Gray Line. And maybe I did all 5 of his Columbia films.
You don't even. This is the thing. I have friends all the time say, "Oh, I saw your dad in a documentary yesterday," and I go, "Great." And they say, "Do you know what it was called?" I go, "No," because you've been a professional talking head for 807 years. So the answer to which movie is it is there's too many to choose from.
Greetings from Ireland. Greetings back to you, Ireland.
Yes. Oh, wonderful Ireland. Wonderful Ireland, a place that I miss being. I was supposed to go. One of my good friends was living in Donegal, which is just fun to say, for a while. And we were supposed to see her and didn't get a chance. And now she's moved back to the Shetlands, which, by the way, if you're not very familiar with the Shetlands, the fact that they don't give you a pony when you move there, to me, seems like the world's biggest travesty. Because why the hell would you move to the Shetlands if you're not going to get a pony? You know what I mean? Just doesn't seem right. Have you ever done a book signing at the Hollywood show? Is that like Ray Courts or a different version of Ray Courts?
Yes, sort of.
Yeah. Mabel, are we digging to China over there, Mabel? I don't know. I don't think you've done a signing. You haven't done those sorts of big shows in a long time. They're pretty wild. And it requires you usually to schlep your stuff. And we get very spoiled because Jeff Mantor, who runs Larry Edmunds' bookstore in Hollywood,
Bookshop.
Sorry. And Jeff is so good. Jeff
And I
works,
did do a signing last weekend.
Yeah.
Last Saturday night, I hosted the opening night of the LA Conservancy's annual event called The Last Remaining Seats. And it was at the Orpheum Theater downtown on Broadway here in Los Angeles. And they were showing the 7-Year Itch, which I hadn't seen
on
in a long
Marilyn
time.
Monroe's birthday, which is June 1st.
We all sang Happy Birthday to Marilyn, in fact. They had a great turnout, as they usually do. And it's a turnout that is a complete cross-section of Angelenos. It's not just the same old movie buffs you see. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but it's not the same people, same faces you see at other vintage film screenings.
No, it's nice. You get a little bit of everything, and it's always a good time. And you're in, these beautiful palaces, movie palaces.
And the Orpheum just got back. It's Mighty Wurlitzer organ, which is missing for a couple of years as it underwent its first ever complete restoration. And sounded wonderful. And it looked great too. They did the case, of course, the exterior as well as the interior.
Those theaters are so gorgeous, and everything in them. There you go. Have you got to the Russ Tamblyn memoir yet? I have not. So I am severely dyslexic and I have a very hard time reading. And, it's been such a long time since I've tried to read a book because it takes me forever and it's not pleasurable, unfortunately, because it just gives me a headache. So my mom, who's also dyslexic, she does books on tape and loves it. And you've ended up listening to several of them with mommy because if you're in the car, that's what you have on.
We're listening to Barbara Streisand read her autobiography.
And in fairness, for a while, the two of you have been obsessed with it.
Well, yeah.
And I have had to hear every story retold from them. So I'm not listening to Barbara Streisand's book on tape. I'm listening to my parents tell me everything that they've just heard from Barbara Streisand's book on tape. But now you have hit a wall with Babs.
Well, we're well into the book.
Is it like 30 hours?
31 hours.
31 hours.
Like and we haven't been doing a lot of driving lately. So we don't want to listen without each other. So when mommy goes to an appointment, she doesn't play it. Right.
Yeah.
So this is a journey of in more ways than one. But her early years were so interesting because they're our lifetime. She's a little older than me, but it's my lifetime. I remember hearing her first record.
Yeah.
I remember when she first came on the scene.
A lot of it was quite sentimental. But now, as you're 30 whatever hours into it, you're done. And that was my favorite is you came in the other day. You came in, I forget where you'd been with mommy, and you came in and you went, all right, we're over it now. We're done now. And it's like, man,
it's not a surprise that she is very self-involved. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yes.
But self-aware, certainly.
Yeah. To a degree.
She remembers every outfit,
everything.
Many of which she designed or sketched herself, and almost everything she ever ate. She was talking about tapioca pudding the other night, which is never mind.
You got on this boat, man. This is your fault. You decided to start listening to this crap, and here you are.
Friday night, we went to the Critics' Choice Association's
LGBTQ plus
their first
event.
Ever LGBTQ awards ceremony, and it was really interesting. It was really interesting, and any event that winds up with Nathan Lane being given an award and giving a speech is worth going to. And bonus, he was introduced by Sean Hayes, who is almost as funny as Nathan Lane is. And they both are such professionals. They prepare material. They don't speak off the top of their head. Those are both,
naturally funny.
Nathan Lane was, as he always is, hysterical,
Mm-hmm.
hysterically funny. At some point, they're going to post, I'm sure, this show
Mm-hmm.
and those speeches
Some of those clips, you'll
online.
be able to see
It's
them.
the CCA, the Critics' Choice Association.
Critics'
Choice
Association. There you go.
Do not fail to take an opportunity
Yeah.
to hear them.
Oh man, the
They're
bird.
great.
Yeah, I love Nathan Lane in The Birdcage. Someone says here, that's one of my favorite movies ever.
Mhm.
I have it memorized. My mom and I quote it to each other frequently. I think it's one of the funniest movies ever made,
Mhm.
and the cast is perfect. The cast is perfect. I don't think there's anything to change in that movie. I think it's a damn near perfect movie.
It sure is.
I was reading Karina Longworth's book on Howard Hughes and ran across something called Sidney Skolsky's Tintypes. Sounded like an early zine. Any knowledge?
That was a syndicated column. Sidney Skolsky was of the same vintage as Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons, popular syndicated columnist who became something of a movie producer. I think it was he who initiated the effort to tell Al Jolson's life, and may have been credited as the producer of the Jolson story. And its sequel, Jolson Sings Again, back in the 1940s.
You have to say it like that, though. And its sequel.
And its sequel, that's right.
Leonard, I just rewatched The Magnificent Seven. What a movie. Yeah, what's kind of... There are a lot of movies that are, not a lot, but there's a number of movies that are considered like classics or the best movies ever made, right? And I always think that has to be a really difficult gift to give to a film, because then somebody's turning it on and going, so I heard this is one of the greatest movies ever made. And that's a tough way to watch anything.
Yeah.
That's like someone telling you this is the greatest singer of all time.
Yeah.
You know, it's then you're listening with that in your head. But then there are some movies that really are just that.
Well,
and it doesn't get much better.
No, except if you compare it to its source material, Kurosawa's great film, The Seven Samurai. If you've never seen a Japanese film, if you're somebody who just doesn't watch foreign language films, watch Seven Samurai. It may change your mind.
Is it easy? I think it's an easy one in that sense.
Yeah.
It's easy to get into and enjoy. David says, feel like after last year, nothing is making me feel like I have to see at the movies. Anything you guys really looking forward to? Well, we spoke about this a little bit the other day, because there was a whole thing about what a big deal it was that Memorial Day weekend was one of the lowest box offices in Memorial Day weekend history. Memorial Day weekend history. And it's because the two movies that opened were Garfield and Furiosa. And my feeling with both of those movies is that neither one is such a big deal to most people that you have to get out to see it, especially opening weekend. Now I have a lot of friends who were really excited about Furiosa, but again, not the kind of excited of like, I have to get there day one.
Well,
and
it is a spectacular action film.
Both you and Mommy liked it, which does surprise me.
Made by George Miller, who made the original Mad Max, decades ago. I think this is a prequel, to the last one, where Charlize Theron played Furiosa. And now it's Anya Taylor-Joy playing Furiosa, and another adolescent girl playing her as an adolescent girl. The action is incredibly exciting and well staged, as you'd expect. It's not as intense as it was in the last movie,
which you like better.
Which I like better, and which I found almost
not
too
that you
intense.
like the movie, the other movie. You like this better because it's not as intense.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the point being that I don't think that we've had a lot of movies come out that make you go, "Oh, I gotta go see this." I mean, an example would be something like a Mission Impossible, right?
Though I am looking forward to Inside Out too.
Well, so David's asking what you're looking forward to. Very much that. But I think in general, it's just sort of like what's going to get people out. What's going to make people say, I have to go see this movie in a theater. I want to go opening weekend. I want to go and experience it with a crowd.
Right.
All of that, because we just spoke about this, but this is sort of the thing, is for how much it costs to go to the movies, for how much it costs to get concessions, for how much, all of that. And then a lot of times people in the audience are on their phones or they're talking. Now I am 100% the person that will stop you. I will go a running your direction. If I see a phone pop out or anything like that, I will tap on your shoulder and say, please put that away. It doesn't make me friends, but I don't really care. I think the funniest time I had that was in Manchester. There's a great movie theater in Manchester in the city center that we like to go to.
Where
my husband's from. And there was like 4 people sitting in front of us, all with their phones out. And I just leaned forward and in my loudest, very American accent was like, could you please put those away? Thanks so much. And they did. And then when they tried to take them out again, I did it again. And they didn't like me. And I don't care, because you shouldn't have your phone out in a movie theater. Anyway, but it's, again, I think that it's hard because there's so many things that make us not really want to go to the theater. Especially when so much can happen here at home.
Sure.
I get both sides of it.
There was a press screening of The Young Woman in the Sea.
Yeah, which you would like to see.
Which I really wanted to see. And I've skimmed a couple of reviews.
Yeah.
And it does appear to be the kind of movie that I want to see. It's about Gertrude Ederle, who's the first woman to swim the English Channel. And Bebe Daniels played her in a movie in the 1920s. Closer to the time that she did that. And I think the movie's called Swim Girl Swim, something like that, which would be a great title today, but they don't use titles like that today.
Why would you use a good title? That's ridiculous. Yeah. Kevin says, Leonard, after seeing that your movie guide gave the horror comedy Tucker and Dale vs. Evil 3.5 stars, I gave it a chance and loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Good.
We love Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
Love that movie.
We have been proselytizers for that film for years. And when we saw it,
written and directed by Eli Craig,
who, fun fact, is the son of Sally Field.
Mm-hmm.
We just loved it. It made us laugh. And the stuff that's gory in it is like, it's entertaining. So even when stuff is happening where you go, because my dad doesn't like horror and neither of us like anything gory. I don't like gory. I don't mind horror and I don't mind suspense, but I don't need torture. I just don't. And I don't need to see blood and guts blown up in my face. It's not my idea of a good time.
That's why it's a parody.
Yeah.
It's literally that. It's a parody of Friday the 13th type movies.
But it's so funny and it's so well done.
Yep.
And genuinely entertaining. So yeah, we really have like crazy. You had it at your class. Didn't you have it twice? Showed it in class with Eli twice, which was a blast. And yeah. It's just a movie that we really enjoy, and I always recommend it to friends. Have I bonded with other celebrities who are dyslexic, like Whoopi Goldberg? I'll be honest, it's not something that you generally walk around yelling to people, hey, you can't read either. How's that going? But I think the nicest thing now is that because it's at least understood by a lot of people, you don't have to explain it as much. So when someone asks me about books, do you like to read this? Have you read that? And I go, nope. I can't really read for pleasure. I miss it, to be honest, because I do like reading, but it just takes a lot. And especially again, now with Daisy, my brain doesn't have the capacity to even try. I will tell you that my favorite books and some of the best that I was able to read were David Sedaris books. First of all, because he's hysterically funny. His writing is, I don't love all of his books. Some of them, especially some of the newer ones. Yeah,
there was one that you really...
There are two that I don't love. But I think that Naked and Me Talk Pretty One Day are two of the greatest books ever written.
He's one of the greatest humorous essayists.
And the reason I can read those is because they're all sort of short stories.
Yeah.
And I can read a short story because I don't have to retain any of it. I can just read however many pages that is, and then it's done. Because the biggest issue I have with my version of dyslexia is that I can read the same line over and over again and not realize I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. School was so fun. School was just a delight. Lick the Star, what a name, says, this is my little family's church on Sundays. We so appreciate that.
Well, that is
And
maybe somewhat irreverent, but
I
it's a
love
very
it.
high compliment.
I love it, and I appreciate it very, very much. Kevin says, I think Citizen Kane sometimes suffers from that greatest film ever, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You know, movies like that get such a, that get that kind of sort of hype around them.
Yeah. Okay. It's like this. All right. Show me.
Yeah. Show me the best movie you've ever, and you go,
Yeah.
this is difficult. So yeah, I always try with friends to say, hey, I think this is really great, and I think that you would enjoy it. And I just have to hope that they do. And if they don't, I also understand that, because it's tough to sort of view things in that way. Sorry, guys. Garfield became the #1 movie in the world. I don't doubt that it did, but it doesn't have much competition right now, does it? No, look, people, this is the other thing, right? People do want entertainment. You know, there's so much, frankly, misery on a daily basis. My mom was reading the paper this morning and she went, is there any good news? And I said, no, not particularly. Which is why we focus on Playing with Daisy, because that's our version of good news.
Although this morning's LA Times has a really nice feature piece. J. Michael Straczynski, the writer-producer, gives a tour of Harlan Ellison's house in Sherman Oaks, which is intact since his death and his wife Susan's death.
Yeah.
And we spent some happy times there, and we're very fond of Harlan and Susan. And if you don't know who we're talking about, Harlan Ellison was a brilliant writer and a unique character with a capital C. And
not for everyone. Not for everyone, let's say.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who do not have very nice stories about Harlan, and I understand that.
Yeah.
We're very lucky that we all loved each other very much, and that was good. But yes, I want to go to the movies with you, Lynn. I'm telling you, I will happily sit in a movie theater and tell everybody to stop misbehaving, because I say, to me, one of the main issue I have with people being terrible in a movie theater is it's such a high level of disrespect for others. The idea that your phone is more important than the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 people sitting around you,
right.
That's
a level of arrogance.
Yeah, it's a degree that really bothers me, because I just sort of go, so what you're doing is more important than everybody here. And I kind of want to go, unless you're a doctor, and I want to see credentials, unless you're a doctor, you don't need to have your phone on. Yeah. You just don't.
Larry Smith is says,
speaking of good action films, we watched The Fugitive again last night, and it holds up very well.
I'm glad to hear that. I just saw its director, Andrew Davis, at Cass Warner's memorial, because he lives in Santa Barbara, and so did she. And he had just come back from Ebert Fest, where they showed one of his early films.
Yeah. So funny. I'm so, a few of you are mentioning that you love David Sedaris too. I'm so glad. I really do. I just think he's hilarious.
Oh man, they're showing Christopher Bean at the AFI Silver Theater in Silver Spring next weekend.
In Silver Spring, Maryland next weekend.
And this is a pre-code film festival being put on by my old friend David Pierce. And if you're anywhere in that vicinity and you love a 1930s Hollywood, you got to get yourself there. And in the case of Christopher Bean, which stars Marie Dressler and Lionel Barrymore, it is the only print in the world. And it resides at the George Eastman Museum in Rochester, New York, which is where I saw it some 25 years ago on a Cinefest field trip. That was the day, little sidebar, that was the day we all got on buses in Syracuse and drove the hour and a half-ish to Rochester, got off the buses and watched 8 films in a row, 8 feature films in a row. Of course, films were shorter way back when, but still 8 feature films in a row. I only saw 7 because I just had to stand up and walk around for a little while. And that's when I developed my theorem or theory that it's the rear end that goes first, not the eyes.
Mhm.
My eyes were fine.
That's my mom and I. That's one of the ways that we judge movies is at what point was I shifting in my seat and my butt was going numb? Because once that happens, it means the movie's not good anymore. Because otherwise, you don't notice that you're uncomfortable. My parents' adventures to Syracuse over how many years?
Gosh.
Dozens of years.
Yeah.
I love it because they all just it's film nerd mecca. It
Yep.
was just all of your friends in one place, watching as many movies as possible. Some of them terrible, but just to say that they'd watched them.
Rare.
Rare. That's one of the big things in our household is explaining the difference between good and rare. Sometimes
we used to have screenings in 16 millimeter of films, and I would only show films I hadn't seen before. And everybody who came, we had a kind of a regular group. Everybody who came understood that we were going to watch the film, whether it turned out to be good or not. Because if you don't see it, you don't know. And that's when we came up with we called it our screen. We were on Whipple Street at that time, Lowe's Whipple.
We called it the Lowe's Whipple.
And our slogan was,
"We don't make them, we just show them."
Yep.
And that was what I got to say every night before my dad started showing the movies in our living room. Was we don't make them, we just show them. Because many times they were terrible. So when I was going to go to college for the 5 minutes that I did go to college, I said to my dad, I really want to have a movie night before we go. And my dad and I used to make programs.
Mm-hmm.
We used to make programs
This is
together.
Pre-computer.
Yes, we used
our Xerox machine.
Our Xerox machine and glue, stick glue. And we made programs together and printed them out for all of our friends. And I said to my dad, I really want to do a movie night before I leave. Could we please show something that's actually good? I don't want rare. I want good. I want to watch a movie that we're all going to say, wow, this was really good. And what did all of our friends say? Thank you, Jesse. Thank you for choosing a movie that's actually good instead of just rare. And we watched Bulldog Drummond.
Bulldog Drummond Strikes Back.
Which is a lot of fun.
Extraordinary sequel to Bulldog Drummond with Ronald Colman.
My mother's boyfriend. And
Loretta Young and Warner Olin. Yeah.
It was so good. It was so good.
It's a wonderful movie.
And the highlight was everyone thanking me for choosing something that's actually good. Sean says, I actually saw 4 movies at a theater this week. Now I feel like a freak. Don't feel like a freak. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
You're a true blue moviegoer.
That's I mean, back in the day, that's very normal. My parents would go usually every night. For most of my life, pardon me, growing up, my parents went to a movie every single night. And occasionally
3 to 5 nights on average.
Yeah.
On average.
Well, so what was always funny was trying to explain that my parents' schedule was sort of opposite to many other kids' parents because my parents' job often happened at night instead of in the day.
Yeah.
Now you had to go to ET, and for a long time that was a big piece of every morning. But yeah. So, other kids, their parents are out during the day. My parents went out at night because they went to see movies.
Fortunately, we live close enough to Hollywood proper, where and here in Burbank, Warner Brothers, Disney, we could have dinner at home.
Yeah, and then they'd leave and go see a movie.
We got to still have a family dinner.
Yeah, and that was big. And growing up especially, we very rarely didn't have dinner together. Every now and then they would go. And we wouldn't have dinner, but it was always funny because my mom doesn't really believe in time. Alice Maltin doesn't believe in time, and
tread carefully.
So it's just true. And so what would happen at a certain point is my dad would say, "Are you enjoying that chicken? Because you're done eating it now, and we have to leave." And that was most nights.
Yeah, but I said that in restaurants too.
You did many times. Are you enjoying that? We have to go see the movie now. So that was always good. A few folks are asking about Harlan, and I'll tell you, the thing about Harlan was he was a difficult person for sure.
Prickly.
And if you made him mad, God help you. But if you were close to him and if he cared about you, and as I say, we loved each other. We said, I love you all the time. We loved each other. He was just hilarious to be with. Still nuts, like never not crazy, but so much fun and silly. And for a kid, he talked to me like a grown-up, which is such a, especially when you're 11, 12, 13, to have somebody talking to you like you're
really
a person,
appreciate it.
It means a lot. So yeah, we have a lot of wonderful Harlan memories in all of his chaos. Larry Smith says, I remember Jesse in a stroller being pushed by Alice at Cinefest in Syracuse. Yes, I attended as a very small human. I attended then. And then at a certain point, you started going without mommy.
Yep.
And then when I was old enough, probably like 11 or somewhere there, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there, where I was okay with my parents leaving for a week, they would go together to Syracuse and I would be home. And when they would call me, it was always funny because we watched 17 movies today. We drove to this place and it always fell during their anniversary. So where did they spend March 15th? Most years of my life.
Some years, yeah.
Was in Syracuse, New York, at the Holiday Inn on Electronics Parkway. And that was always one of our jokes, was just, they were so happy that where else would you want to be? That's the perfect place to celebrate your anniversary.
Pretty much it. Surrounded by good friends.
Yep. And for your 38th anniversary, they even did a little marquee for you.
Yep.
And there's a really cute picture of it. So yeah, very lucky. These movie memories, when I think about how much everything has changed, just in the world, one of the things that I'm sort of saddest about is human interaction and the festivals that we used to attend and how much many of them have changed. The events that used to go on, part of it, obviously before the internet was really the internet and all the rest of it. But there were so many things that we went to that were really special because they were in person,
right,
with everybody.
Right. Not virtual. Virtual is it's a substitute.
It's fantastic because here we can all be together.
Right.
Right. It's amazing that we have that. And we started doing this. I can't believe how many years it is, but because of COVID, we started doing these live streams with everybody during COVID. And so how lucky that we can do that with each other and that we can spend some time together and you guys can ask us questions and we can answer you in real time. That's fantastic. But I miss a lot of the things that I grew up with.
Yeah.
That were in person, and there were not cameras, there were not videos. It was just everybody together.
Yeah.
Being nerdy. But yes, Harlan did a really good video about how writers should be paid their worth. It's called Pay the Writer.
Yep.
It's in his documentary, Dreams with Sharp Teeth. My mother quotes it religiously, and we show it to friends all the time.
That excerpt is on YouTube.
It is.
It's called Pay the Writer. But the whole documentary is worth watching.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dreams with Sharp Teeth.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And it's him. When you're feeling sad or down, which films do you turn on to use as a balm? It's an excellent question.
The Marx Brothers always put me in a great space, a great frame of mind. And TCM usually often shows them on New Year's Eve. I think just to have something
joyful.
Yeah. That's my knee-jerk answer to your question.
Yeah. I think
there are many others, but
yeah. I mean, really, my parents have TCM on all day for the most part. If you're in their room, they've got TCM on. So I think most of those give you that feeling. Just because it's like there's a calmness to it. You're sort of like visiting old friends. I think for me, again, anything happy, which I realize sounds silly, but I don't necessarily watch the same thing over and over again so much as I just watch things that will make you laugh and smile. So there's a new series on Netflix called Geek Girl. It is very basic, very simple storytelling, nothing special, perfect to just escape, ideal for escape. Because I also watched Eric, which is effing terrible. And that was a waste of my life watching that show. And you ended up watching much of the second to last and some of the last episode with me. And the two of us are just going, what in the hell is this mess?
And there's Benedict Cumberbatch.
What in the hell is this?
Great actor.
What in the hell? Truly terrible, like exceptionally terrible. And I really want to know who read that script and thought, yes, this is, we should go with this. So, but then I binged Geek Girl, which is so easy, so simple, so friendly, and ideal.
I can't read that name.
Which?
From the same state in Sweden as
Mats says, I am from the same state in Sweden as Warner Olin, which is a fantastic fun fact.
Good for you. Here's two Warner Olin tidbits. They're not anecdotes. They're just tidbits. As a collector, you always remember the ones that got away, the things you might have bought or could have bought and didn't. Collector's Bookstore, when Malcolm Willits was running it, had a monthly auction, which in those days was a telephone auction before internet. That's how old this story is. And he had two 9x12 photos signed to the manager of the Royal Hawaiian Hotel on Waikiki Beach in Honolulu, because they filmed a movie there, an early Charlie Chan movie called The Black Camel. And he had signed photos from Warner Olin and the co-star of the film, Bela Lugosi. And I bid on them, but I didn't bid enough. And I missed out. And I've never forgotten that.
And to this day.
And when we got to visit the Royal Hawaiian Hotel with our cinephile pals a decade or more ago, we sat in the lobby. It's a wonderful place. And Waikiki is lovely. But I said, Warner Olin walked in this corridor. See that carpet? That's the original carpet. Bela Lugosi walked on that carpet.
His feet touched this carpet.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, because it is. I mean, there's something special. That's why we love history. That's why we try to preserve certain places. That's why, you want to keep it, because why would you not? It's special.
Turning to something new. Any thoughts on Hitman? Yes. That's Richard Linklater's new movie starring Glenn Powell, who also co-wrote it and produced it. And it's a great vehicle for him. And
Did you show it in class?
No, we watched it on.
When did you see it?
It's on Netflix.
I know it is. I just didn't know you'd watched it.
We watched it one night last weekend, I think. It lost me.
It looks terrible, but yeah.
It starts out fun. And it's based on a real guy. It's based on a Texas Monthly magazine article about the real guy, which is what the inspiration for a better film that Linklater made called Bernie, starring Jack Black and Shirley MacLaine.
Have you guys ever seen Bernie? That is a weird. Yeah. It's still not a great film.
No,
I like it,
but it's a good film.
But it's weird as hell. The real story is nuts, and
the real story
movie
on
is also nuts.
The real story on the guy in Hitman is also nuts.
Yeah.
I'll give you the premise on it. There's no spoilers here. It's about a fellow a youngish fellow who teaches philosophy at a college, but who works undercover for the local police department. It's in Louisiana, entrapping scam artists. And he really did.
Yeah.
And he helped arrest a lot of wrongdoers.
Do you like him, Glenn? Does he do it for you?
I haven't seen him enough.
Yeah, I haven't really watched much of what he's been in. I don't know.
Hasn't made a strong impression on me.
Not yet. Any memories of the late Daryl Hickman? Your father had a very heartfelt post about him. I know.
Yes.
We got to have dinner with him how many years ago?
At the TCM Festival.
The TCM Film Festival. How long?
They just had a screening of Tea and Sympathy, in which he had like the supporting, major supporting role.
Yeah.
He was very articulate.
Very nice.
And very nice, and not at all abashed about visiting his youth or his past.
Mm-hmm.
He got past that barrier a while ago. And he taught acting. And he wrote a very good book that is part autobiography and part his acting philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
which is he adapted from Stanislavski, but changed, had his own direction. And I liked him very much. He came to a screening of The Grapes of Wrath at the Alex Film Society, and he was a kid in that film. He was one of the Jode family, along with Shirley Mills and Doris Bowden, who became Doris Johnson when she married the great writer-producer Nunnally Johnson. So we had 3 of the children from that film, from that 1940 film. And I led the discussion on stage after the screening.
Yeah.
And I remember we took you, and you were young.
Oh, I remember it well.
Yeah, and you said, that's really depressing.
It's a real depressing movie. Well, there's nothing quite like, and I don't think you can count Grapes of Wrath as having spoilers at this point, so forgive me if I ruin this for anyone. But when your dead grandmother is sitting next to you in the wagon, and you're pretending she's alive so you can continue down the road, might have been a bit much for a young person.
Yep.
Might have been a bit much for me to see at the time.
Yep.
Excellent parenting choices. Excellent parenting choices. No, it is. It's a great movie, but it's a hard movie.
Tough movie.
And seeing it, considering that, seeing it as many years later as I was seeing it, the fact that it still had that kind of feeling where you were just going, oh, is there any, speaking of joy, is there any joy to be had? Is there anything good that's going to come? And the answer is not particularly, no. Have I watched Bodkin on Netflix? I didn't. I worked the premiere for it and was really excited. And then everybody I knew who was watching it was not liking it. You guys watched it.
No, Mommy did.
No, you were there. You guys watched it together upstairs.
Bodkin?
Mm-hmm. Bodkin or Bodkin. It's the one that was on Netflix. They're all in, I think they're in Ireland, and they have a radio show. You did. It was the other day. I only know because Daisy and I were in the bath. That's how I know that.
I was either reading a book or...
You were there.
Yeah.
Ish. Ripley is easily the best TV show of 2024. I think you would probably agree with that to some degree.
Yes, I have a little reservation about the ending. Not the nature of the ending, but the way they timed it and played it. But first off, it is exquisite. It's shot by Robert Elswit, great cinematographer, and written and directed by Steven Zalian, a great filmmaker, great screenwriter turned filmmaker.
And we've just done, we did a whole bunch of Emmy interviews. And I have to say, everybody that we spoke to about Ripley spoke about how much they really adored Steve Zalian and what a captain of the ship he is.
Right.
And that he really, they kept saying, he's the reason for this, he's the reason for that. So it really, I already respected him, but it definitely grew from that.
It's in glorious black and white. Every shot worthy of like a coffee table book. But not just for the sake of beauty shots. They have a cumulative effect.
Yeah.
And it's very well done.
Sorry, so where'd it go? It moved. Sorry, guys, 1 second. I was going to read something and then it moved. There it is. The critics loved Hitman. What did you think of The Dead Don't Hurt and The Great Lillian Hall? I wanted to mention that because we just interviewed the composer for Great Lillian Hall,
Jeff Russo,
and I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But it's another one where the cast is so good, and I'm really looking forward to it. I hope it's good. I want it to be good. Have you watched it? Has anybody seen The Great Lillian Hall yet? Sean says, the Grapes of Wrath as a child, I got to see Watership Down and their follow-up, The Plague Dogs, in theaters alone, dropped off by my parents. You know, Sean, I think you and I would have had a good time together. A good time together. Yeah, there's so much stuff that you realize you see. Again, we keep saying with Daisy, we're not sure when we have to stop watching stuff while she's around, because right now she doesn't respond to any of it.
No.
There can be fire, murder, anything, and she just does not care yet.
The dogs do respond.
Oh, yeah, well.
And it's funny because we've had dogs your whole life.
Yes.
And our other dogs never responded to anything on television.
Well, no, what it is that Mabel and Logan, as soon as they see any animal on screen, and by any animal on screen, I mean animated, like pencil drawings, real, fake, whatever, they lose their minds and they are insane. And so if there's a horse, which my dad loves a good Western, can't watch it because the dogs lose their minds. Honest to God, anything, the dogs just lose their damn minds. And it is exhausting. Hi, Hasana, friend. Hi. The Tony Awards are next week. Yes, they are. They're on my birthday. This year, next Sunday is Father's Day, my birthday, and the Tonys. So we're used to sharing Father's Day and my birthday because it's always right around each other. My godfather, Pete, is June 17th. So we've always done a Jesse birthday, Pete birthday, Father's Day dinner, all of us together to celebrate. And luckily we like each other, so it's never been an issue sharing it. Though I tease my husband because his birthday is May 20th, right around Mother's Day. So no matter what happens, we all end up we all share our holidays. But I look forward to that. And obviously it's fun as holidays happen now with Daisy that she doesn't really understand, but understands it better. She can sing happy birthday now, which is very cute. So I told her, it's mommy's birthday next week. It's going to be mommy's birthday. We'll get a cake and all the rest of it. And she's practicing singing happy birthday. So all is well. We have not seen, the rest of Arthur's question is, have you guys recently gone to New York City and watched any plays in the past year? We have not. And that's, I think, the strangest part of watching Tony's right now is there's so many people we don't know. There's shows. I will say one of my good friends is in Merrily We Roll Along, and I'm very excited for her. And that's a pretty great show to be a part of right now. One of my other really dear friends is one of the producers for Cabaret. And he's already won some other Tonys. I don't even remember which shows anymore. He's done so much. So yeah, I will be very happily cheering them on and excited about it. Stereophonic is going to win Best Play, and Hell's Kitchen will likely win Best Musical. Merrily We Roll Along will deservedly sweep in its categories. You are not alone in thinking that. My friend Josh is sort of my go-to theater person, and he will sort of fill me in. We're excited because next year there's a number of big shows that are returning. Though I'm not, again, I love Audra McDonald. I don't see her as Mama Rose. Audra McDonald is set to play Mama Rose in Gypsy.
Not a matter of color.
No. Color has nothing to do with it. I just don't picture Audra McDonald as Mama Rose in Gypsy. That's not.
I will confess quietly, don't spread this around. We saw Angela Lansbury.
Yeah.
On a Broadway revival of Gypsy. And it was not good casting.
No. Well,
it was not good casting. Not her fault.
That's how I feel that's kind of how I feel with when they had Bernadette Peters as Mama Rose. And the way people were describing her performance was timid or like this was a different kind of Mama Rose, more vulnerable. And I went, no, I want Ethel Merman. I want Rosalind Russell. That's what I want. I want that. And again,
but there's one instance where the Hollywood casting was really good. No insult to Ethel Merman, please.
No, but Rosalind Russell did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Do you know who now has a TikTok? Because I just stumbled across it the other day. Natalie Woods. Is it Natalie Woods? No, it's not.
Sister Lana?
No. Hang on, I have to remember this now because I'm going to lose my mind. Who is it? It's not Natalie. Who's the other one?
The other one?
Wait 1 second. 1 second. Let me find. Let me see if I can find this and if I'm losing my mind. Yeah, there. Yes, Natalie Wood's daughter,
Daughter.
Natasha Gregson,
Ah,
has started posting about her mother, and doing a really good job of it, and on TikTok, which is interesting. And I was really impressed because people were saying, "Oh wow, you're really bringing her back to life." And I thought that was really interesting. Don't talk to me about Ethel Merman. I don't trust her, Jonathan. Why don't you trust Ethel Merman? One of the loudest performers of all time. My mom, very lucky, got to see her on Broadway in Gypsy. And my God, Lynn just also stumbled across Natasha Gregson's TikTok. Yeah. Yes, she is beautiful, Ben. She's a very beautiful woman. But it's interesting just to hear her talking about this. And she says the whole reason why she started the account was to be able to talk more about her mother, which I love. You know, Victoria Carr says Rosalind Russell was one of the best actresses ever. She pretty damn good, and fun to watch and powerful, but definitely kind of had all the its. Yeah, I grew up and I loved watching her. There too, kind of like some people have, who their Batman is, who their Superman is. It's who they
right.
grew up with. For me, I'm very much a musical theater kid. And so I have the people that I grew up listening to or watching, and you kind of can't help that it's like, Kevin says Audra McDonald is Mark Evanier's favorite singer. I did not know that. And I love her too, but I certainly understand your reservations about the casting. But that's it. I don't know. I feel like
I
her
first saw
voice,
her.
her voice is too beautiful. That's kind of how I think about it. I
We
feel like Audra's voice is too beautiful
we
to do
lucked
it.
out and saw her in the master class, which is essentially a two-person, two-hander, as they call it.
Mm.
She just blew me away, and I've been a fan ever since.
Yeah, you wouldn't not. She's amazing.
Yeah.
See Ethelyn, call me madam. So call me madam. My mom and her brother used to sing "You're Just in Love." They'd perform that together. So I learned it at a certain point and would do that. So yeah, we also love Call Me Madam. Fatty Lapone, Imelda Staunton, and Tyne Daly were all great Mama Roses. Ethel Merman was great, but not if you like a pleasant sound.
Yeah, but all three of the women you just named,
yeah,
are better casting,
yeah,
dare I say, than Angela Lansbury.
Yeah,
who I adore.
Yeah. She's a goddess, truly.
Yeah.
No, again, it's I understand trying to, it's not that Audra can't belt. It's not that. There's just a quality. There has to be a little bit more grit. Now, she's so talented that I don't doubt for a second that she will sound fantastic and she will act the hell out of it. I don't doubt any of that. I just can't hear her for me as Mama Rose. But again, this is also which gypsy did you listen to? Right. Was it a cast recording, cast album? Was it the film? What did you get used to? And so in your head, how is something supposed to sound? And I will say with Ethel Merman, it is easy to joke about her because she was over the top in many ways, but she was one hell of a performer.
Yep.
And left nothing behind. She went for it. And if you listen to her recording of Gypsy and you listen to that and you get to Rose's turn and you feel it. Ferocious is an excellent word for it. You feel all of it. And the fact that you can listen to something not without even seeing it and hear what she's doing.
Yeah.
Just exceptional.
Yeah.
Absolutely exceptional.
Right. Collectibles. Before we run out of time. Okay. This is obviously going to be part one.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I can't believe you don't have Gabby, though. How could you put Gabby over there?
Collector cards.
Nobody puts Gabby at a corner. What are you doing?
Collector cards. I don't have statistics on this, but it may be that the British were the first to do collector cards. And instead of bubble gum, they came with cigarette packs, and a lot of them were the John Player cards. Mm-hmm. And so but these are other companies. But here's Anna May Wong. Here's the wonderful Anna May Wong.
One of my dad's favorite actresses.
And now bona fide cult figure
Mm-hmm.
in pop culture. This is another good one.
And on the back, it's got says Josetti Film Builder. Oh, it's not English, is it? There you go.
No.
That's really funny. It looks so good. What have you got? Another anime one. God, she was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous.
Give
me Gabby. Give me that beautiful man.
Oh, man. Now this was...
My dad used to have 2 pictures in his wallet. One was of me, and the other was of Gabby Hayes. And I'm not joking. My dad had a picture of me and a picture of Gabby Hayes. And Gabby Hayes, if you want to know who Leonard Maltin loves and will murder for, it is this guy right here, Gabby Hayes. Aren't they doing a special U.S. quarter for her or something for Anime Wong?
It's done.
Yeah.
I have them.
Yeah. We got the Barbie. They did a Barbie of her. Frankly, it's not perfect, but I felt like my dad needed to have it. You know?
I went to our bank and requested 4 Anime Wong quarters and got them. Here's my heartthrob, Thelma Todd.
This is his other girlfriend, Thelma Todd. This is... So growing up, my mother would have run away with Ronald Colman. And my father would have run away with Thelma Todd.
Now, these rectangular ones are all cigarette pack cards from overseas.
They've got writing on the back.
Cinema stars. And you could purchase an album and paste them or glue them in the album. This is Ukulele Ike, Cliff Edwards, who introduced the song Singing in the Rain in the Hollywood Review of 1929, and then was the voice of Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah. That's why the Honus Wagner baseball card is so valuable. He protested because he was vehemently anti-tobacco.
Interesting.
Makes sense.
Day without learning, it's like a day without sunshine.
Day without learning is like a day without sunshine. I feel that way about Colm Wilkinson in the musical version of Les Mis. To me, he is Jean Valjean. Well, again, it's true. You just you hear something and you grow up with it, and you just, that is in your brain.
Yeah.
You know, a certain voice, that's it. It's like, so one of our other favorite musicals is Carousel. And when you listen to
John Raitt,
the soliloquy, John Raitt sing the soliloquy, it's just perfect. And I've heard other people do it really well, but that will always be in my head how it's supposed to sound. My mom would have run away with Gene Autry. I get that, Cheryl. He was a handsome gentleman. I understand. CD says, what do you think happened to Thelma Todd? Dun, dun, dun.
For another time. Here's a player. This is the British John Player. That's a woman I was happy to become friendly with. Gloria Stewart. Beautiful woman who had a second career thanks to James Cameron, who cast her as Old Rose in Titanic.
Anytime you bring her up there, I just hear in my head, there's old fat ass. That's all I can hear. My dad got to watch a movie with her. They had restored it. Is that what it was at Universal? They'd restored this film, and it was just the two of you.
And Mommy was there too.
Oh, sorry. As in, it was a screening for you guys.
Private screening.
And at one point, my dad's watching her and, you know, enjoying it.
They forced her to do this musical for which he was unprepared, ill-equipped, whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong. She was wrong.
And while watching, I'm going to say a curse word, but not a bad one. She said, "Look at old fat ass up there." And so the second my dad brings up Gloria Stewart, that's immediately what I hear in my head. Gloria was fantastic. She was so much fun.
These are actual gum cards now. And this one is American, from the Shelby Gum Company. And it's Harry Langdon from the early talkie era. I have others from this series of collectible cards. And here is my old favorite, Charlie Chase.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a...
Doug says, where did you get cards from British cigarettes? Where does he find any of this stuff? Really?
I mean, a lot of it wound up here
Mm-hmm.
because it's not hard to find these. Before eBay, very easy to find.
It's such a funny shot of Charlie Chase.
Yeah. And then there's some that I don't know. I don't know where they originated. Here's somebody.
Did they spell his name wrong?
No. Yeah, it's EY.
I know it is.
Yeah.
They spelled his name wrong on this.
Often.
Really?
Yeah. Charlie generally is Charlie. He spelled it Charley, but it was often misspelled, even in title cards sometimes.
Are you not proud that I knew that?
I'm very
Randolph Scott.
proud. Exactly.
There are several things that my dad is very proud of me for. All of them ridiculous, but important to him. And if I can reference certain things, and as I did reference certain things, especially when I was younger, brought him a great deal of satisfaction.
This is card number 26 in a series.
I'm genuinely surprised they got his name wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
This is Harry Carey Jr., known to one and all as Dobie.
Dobie.
Because when he was born, they said his skin looked like Adobe.
Yeah.
Color.
Quite red. Quite a red person.
What a wonderful man. I feel privileged to have known him.
A lot of fun to be with him.
These cards are from a Movie Land Keno game, which came in a box, and a bingo-like game.
Mm-hmm.
So here are just a few that I scooped up today. Richard Dix, popular leading man for years. Johnny Mack Brown, former football star from Alabama. And then a leading man to Greta Garbo and Joan Crawford. And then a star of B Westerns for years. And the wonderful George O'Brien, who I was fortunate enough to meet. The star of John Ford's The Iron Horse. And many others who came back to work for Mr. Ford several times. Last time in Cheyenne Autumn in the 60s. And the co-star of F.W. Murnau's masterpiece, Sunrise. He and Janet Gaynor. Anyway, so those cards, they're not by suit, diamonds, hearts, clubs, but there are a number of them in that Keno game.
I like, Jesse, which Cinderella is your Cinderella? Which one will Daisy know? And have you and your dad ever met Leslie Ann Warren? Yes, we've met Leslie Ann Warren. She's lovely, really, really nice. We've seen her actually several times, most recently at TCM. She's been at TCM a handful of times.
And she participated in the Mel Brooks tribute that I hosted at the Academy.
That was fun. In terms of Cinderella, I think it's the original. Again, just visually, it's
the Walt Disney version.
Yeah, it's what I see. I think most of the princesses for me are those. I think a lot of kids grew up with the Mary Martin Peter Pan, as I did. So I sort of go back and forth with Peter Pan. I go back and forth from that to the animated one. Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's whatever you see first. So for me, definitely, though I don't think any of the new Cinderellas are anything special. Really, the only new princess, I say new, it's not new anymore, is it? But I thought that Enchanted did a fantastic job. I just love Enchanted. I think it's wonderful. And I think it holds up really well. And it's so much fun.
And it's not literally Cinderella.
No. And Amy Adams is perfect.
Yeah.
I loved it.
James Marsden.
Everybody in it.
Susan Sarandon. They're all well.
It's perfect. I think that's really wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's interesting to see sort of what Daisy, she doesn't really pay attention to the princesses yet. She really loves Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and everybody there. But the princesses have not so much caught her attention, though she loves wearing princess dresses. She wears princess dresses all around the house, which we enjoy very much. But yeah, I think that's the only. So Kevin's saying, I believe the first Cinderella I ever saw was Leslie Ann Warren in the TV special. Again, see, that's the thing. It's what you saw.
Yeah.
It really is what you saw. The other part of her question is, are fans still able to write fan letters to movie and TV stars? I think they are. I think you can. I have no idea what you get back anymore. Really, I have no idea.
In the era of email, in the era of social media, I don't know.
Yeah. Because obviously my dad, we should show them again because it's been a while. My dad has a binder of his correspondence when he would write his fan letters. And that's really in a big way how you got started
Yeah.
doing everything that you did, was that he would get letters back, whether they were from a studio or from the person. There was some acknowledgement
Yeah.
that it was received. And I think that now, I don't really know. I know there are people that still do it, obviously.
And way back when, I have a collection of these too, which I'll show. In the studio days, in the 30s and 40s, the studios had pre-printed postcards and pre-printed envelopes for supposedly signed photos. They were printed signatures, and they sent postcards saying, if you send 25 cents in coin, I'll be happy to,
Do you remember when they had us all write to the president at school?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We all wrote letters to President Clinton. It was Clinton at the time. And we all wrote letters. We were in like 4th or 5th grade, something like that. And it was just sort of to do it. And we all got letters back. Every single one of us got letters back. And it was, I used to have it. I don't know if I do anymore. It was a little like this size photo of Bill Clinton with a little printed sign on it. And the letter said, "Thank you so much." The idea, it was during Earth Day. They had us write to the president about how we felt about the Earth and Earth Day and what we were hoping would happen, and that he would pay attention to it so that the world would be better for us. Ha, 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 ha. But we all got these letters back that said, they all said the same thing, but it was, thank you, so much for caring about this. And you're right. This is your future. And to get a letter, as we all did, with 1600, the address in the corner there was like, what? As I say, I kept it for years. I think I still have it somewhere. But yeah, that's kind of what I wonder. I just say, I don't know if people still write back. I don't know that they can. I don't know if they could handle it being so many,
Well, in the old days, the publicists used to say,
right,
so-and-so gets 10,000 fan letters a month.
Right. Well, imagine now what they would get.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting question just because I don't know. Last thing we do have to talk about before we go, because everybody's asking and it is important. Donald Duck. Our Donald Duck has turned a 90. Doesn't look a day over 89.
Donald Duck is ageless. I refuse to accept that he's 90.
That's right.
He is ageless.
Yep. If you wish to listen, we did have our pal Tony Anselmo on the show a few weeks ago.
Who's been the voice of Donald for several decades now.
Yep, since the 80s. And he has great stories. And he takes being the duck very seriously.
Yeah.
And he refers to it as the duck.
Everyone at the studio apparently called him the duck.
The duck. So when we were talking about him coming on the show, there he is. Look, there's our Tony. He's saying hi. We love you. Tony is such a fantastic ambassador for that duck, because he loves him and he cares for him very deeply and wants to make sure that he is kept in his pristine duck way. And I love that. So yes, it is the duck's birthday. Some folks are asking, do you have a favorite Donald Duck cartoon?
Well, my favorite one is an atypical one. It's called Donald's Dilemma. And Daisy features, as importantly as Donald does, a flower pot falls on his head. Is that how it begins? And he sounds like Ronald Coleman. It changes his voice completely and his manner. And he doesn't remember that Daisy is his girlfriend. So Daisy
goes nuts trying to remind him.
She has to take action.
Obviously.
It's a wonderfully funny cartoon from the late 40s.
Yeah. I love seeing how he changed over time visually. I think it's really interesting to see sort of the changes. Also,
Well, yeah, there's the long-billed Donald.
yeah. I will always love his little butt, his little feathers in the butt, and when he shakes them around, that's what does it for me. Also, I think the sound of Donald getting angry is what plays in my head
Oh,
when I'm
yeah.
angry. Is
Yeah.
that's immediately in my head.
And now Daisy knows Donald.
She does. Our Daisy knows Donald. Now again, it blows me away. It blows me away that Daisy has fallen in love with those, as they call the Fab Five. That she's fallen in love, though it's six if you add Pluto. I think that's so special that it still grabs kids the way it does. You know what I mean? All these years later.
And she said to me like 2 weeks ago, Donald is funny.
Because he is.
Yeah.
Donald is funny. I also like that Daisy, especially in the more recent years, is just a total menace. Daisy Duck is a total menace because it's very fitting for my child. So yeah, she lives up to the cartoon. She's not named after that, though I could pretend very happily that is why she's Daisy. Yeah, it's just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
That it all still works.
Here in the 21st century.
You know, it all still works. And there's a gentleness to it. Because obviously we watch, because we're with her, we watch quite a bit of it.
Yep.
And I love that the characters are the characters. You know, Goofy is silly. Goofy is always silly and tripping himself up. Minnie is sort of perfect almost. Minnie is kind of like the wise sage, you know.
And with a big heart.
With a big heart. I do. I love that everybody is the way that they are supposed to be, that they're very kind. And that when Pete, because Pete's always got something going on, even when Pete is naughty, at the end of the episode, he learns that he should be nice, because if he's nice, good things happen. This is what I would like my child to take away from these things, you know, that being nice gets you a lot further than anything else. So, yeah.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. We are planning to be here next week, Father's Day, birthday, and all. So we hope to see you. And if you can't be here because you're celebrating Father's Day, let us know and we can always try to move things around. Okay.
Yeah.
Please don't choke.
No.
The two of them, my parents have had bronchitis for weeks. They're out of control.
Cough will not go away.
It will not go away. Everybody, please take care of yourselves. If you're out there enjoying Pride, as it is the month of Pride and the weekend 2 in WeHo, which is chaos, please enjoy. And we will see you next week. And
be kind.